The true crime story we are covering today delves into a twisted mind of a man who is blinded by money and selfish desire. He succeeded in taking his wife's life for a financial windfall. His plan was meticulous, calculated, and executed almost flawlessly.
Join us as we discuss the unaliving of Linda Curry and how her husband Paul Curry almost got away with that.
That's right.
What are you doing, Agent Wells?
I'm having a quick smoke as our case involves a strange case involving massive acute nicotine poisoning.
Yuck. Sounds like this will be an interesting but disturbing case.
It sure
Very
will be.
disturbing.
Hey everyone, we'd like to introduce ourselves if you're new here.
It's your girl Sharad.
And I'm Ed, and we are Studio 70, and we have our Crime Force AI investigation team. And before we get into anything further, we want to say this is for
entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research and always be kind to everyone.
Everywhere. We appreciate that. And before we really start off, we just want to take just a few moments to let you know we have another show called The Jump Scare.
Yeah.
If you like to watch creepy videos and get a little jump scare, get that adrenaline going, check us out. Here's a little quick preview. It's really fast, and we'll be back in a few moments. Join us at The Jump Scare, where we watch and react to scary and strange videos. But there's a twist. As you watch, we throw in our own jump scare videos to keep you on your toes. Do you have nerves of steel? Prove it by taking our challenge for some added fun. Watch with a full mug of water, preferably with our logo on it, and see if you can stay steady and dry. Please be safe by keeping the water at room temperature and holding the cup away from anything that can be ruined, like electronics. Let us know if you kept your cool or ended up all washed up. So that's our show. Yeah. And today we're going to react to a video from ABC News. So please go over there, subscribe, and share, comment, like. We have to do this not only just to give them credit, they do a good job, but we have to react. We're going to be talking over it. Yes, we will. Make our own for fair use purposes. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people don't like that, but thank you guys so much. Because sometimes we do our own. Sometimes we like to just support other channels. So here we go. We're going to start the video and see what they have to say. This is kind of a short one today.
An unusual murder trial underway in California. Paul Curry is accused of poisoning his wife back in 1994, 20 years ago. It's taken prosecutors that long to make the case against him, and ABC's Cecilia Vega has that story.
It is a cold case that had authorities stumped for years. But this morning, the man who police say almost got away with murder will be in a Southern California courtroom. Jury selection is underway in the trial of Paul Curry, the 57-year-old accused of poisoning his wife Linda 20 years ago, cashing in on insurance money, then moving to another state to start a new life.
This is pure greed, and unfortunately it's the kind of greed that allowed somebody to kill the person he was supposed to protect.
The once happy couple met while working at the San Onofre nuclear plant and lived here in the California beach town of San Clemente. But according to court records, just 9 months into their marriage, Linda started mysteriously having symptoms. A year later, she died. Eventually, forensic testing confirmed Linda, a non-smoker, had fatal levels of nicotine in her system. But as prosecutors told our Los Angeles station in 2010, it took years and more testing before authorities could link Paul Curry to her death.
Science ability to determine the amount of nicotine in somebody's system and how lethal it is and the timing of it was able to help us.
Curry was arrested 4 years ago in a small town in Kansas where he worked in government overseeing city building inspections. He remarried and lived off a $400,000 insurance payout from Linda's death. But legal observers say the case brings challenges for prosecutors.
This case may have unique problems due to its age. Witnesses may have passed away, their memories may have failed.
Curry has pleaded not guilty. If convicted, he faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. For Good Morning America, Cecilia Vega, ABC News, Los Angeles.
ABC's Dan Abrams is here with more on this. No statute of limitations when it comes to a murder case like this. So 20 years later, here we are.
He's been a suspect from the beginning, too. This is not one of those cases where new DNA evidence came to light and they were able to find it based on new technology. Because remember, this is a husband and wife who lived in the same house. So his DNA would be everywhere. It seems that there is some sort of new technology or new testing that was done that allowed them to determine exactly how she died. But what this really comes down to me, is a reinvigorated investigation in 2007. A district attorney who decided to take a new look at this case, do some new testing in this case, and now had filed charges in 2010.
And as we heard in the report, 20 years later, that's a long time. It's not going to be easy.
Right, and this hasn't been easy from the beginning. Remember, they haven't been able to file charges all this time because it's been a tough case. Yet you put on top of that the fact that you have these witnesses who may have passed away, may have forgotten things, etc. This is not going to be an easy case, and one of the key questions, of course, will end up being exact cause of death. They're going to probably battle over, could it have been something else? Exactly how did she die?
Environmental.
Are we certain that
genetic,
it happened at someone else's hands, etc.?
Something like that.
So what do you think is the biggest challenge here?
Well, they've got a lot of problems here on both sides of this case. But when it comes to the defense, there's a little nugget about a missing Rolex watch that she had that the authorities say he put on the insurance form that it was stolen. They say he gave it to her sister. Why is that important? Because it goes to his credibility, meaning that if the jurors don't believe him, that could be a big problem as part of the defense. But it's a small point, but could end up being really important.
It's a small point.
Okay. Yeah, it is. I mean, the Rolex.
So, all right, let's. Okay. Oh, stop! We like that show, but not today. That's a whole different thing. So let's get back to our. Please go over again and give them some love by subscribing, like, comment, share, and oops, here we go.
Question.
Yeah, here we go. We got the question, but really quickly, total aside, two things. One, it looks like I'm invisible today. I wore a color that's too close to green. Crime Force. So I'll have to get a different color shirt. Anywho, the second thing, Robin Roberts used to work at ESPN, and I happened to be at a Japanese restaurant. We had a bar, and she was there. I guess they were giving her a farewell. She was going on to bigger and better things. And make a long story short, Robin Roberts is awesome in person. Very, very nice lady.
Did she have cancer before?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm not sure, but she was just really awesome in person. Very genuine. And I love genuine people. So anyhow, just those two quick things. So let's see what we have. Looks like 4 questions that came in. One is, what's the background of Linda and Paul Curry? Because, didn't really give a lot of background. And how did she end up unalive? We try to use those words for YouTube. Try to avoid some of the more harsher words. So let's hear it.
Linda and Paul Curry met in 1989 while working at the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station in California. Linda, who was 45 years old at the time, was a secretary who had worked her way up to management.
He was much younger.
Paul, then 32, was hired to train engineers at the plant. Their relationship progressed quickly, leading to their marriage on September 12, 1992. The marriage between Linda and Paul Curry appeared to be troubled from the start. Friends noted that there was a lack of passion in their relationship. Shortly after their marriage, Linda confided in friends.
Oh, we're getting some technical difficulties.
That Paul wanted her to take out a life insurance policy worth $1 million with him as the beneficiary. This raised suspicions among those close to her. Paul was described as intelligent, having been a Jeopardy winner. He claimed to be a member of Mensa, the high IQ society.
So he says.
In July 1993, Linda began experiencing severe gastrointestinal problems that led to hospitalizations, including nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea.
Wow.
Severe dehydration. Organ failure, stroke. Initially, doctors were unable to diagnose the cause of her illness. However, investigations revealed that Linda had been poisoned multiple times. Lidocaine, a numbing agent, was found in her contaminated 4 bag during her first hospitalization. Nicotine poisoning was ultimately determined to be the cause of her unaliving. The autopsy revealed catastrophic levels of nicotine in her system, despite Linda not being a smoker.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Additionally, a toxic amount of Ambien was found in her system. During these visits, medical staff suspected poisoning due to unusual circumstances surrounding her treatment. Notably, there were incidents of tampering with her 4 lines during hospital stays. Friends and family became increasingly concerned about her health and safety, prompting them to suggest she distance herself from Paul.
Yeah, they probably put 2 and 2 together.
Linda's unaliving. On June 9, 1994, after a night when Paul claimed he found Linda unresponsive, she was rushed to the hospital but pronounced dead shortly thereafter. Toxicology reports revealed high levels of nicotine in her system despite neither being smokers. This finding prompted further investigation into the circumstances surrounding her unaliving. Paul's intelligence was noted in the context of the murder investigation, with prosecutors suggesting he thought he could outsmart authorities. The substantial insurance payout of over $500,000 that Paul Curry received after Linda's unaliving provided a clear financial motive for the crime. The case initially went cold, and the investigation came to a complete standstill. In 2002, Sergeant Yvonne Scholl of the Orange County Sheriff's Department got hold of Kincaid's file and taped interviews, effectively reopening the case. Sergeant Scholl's review of the evidence and re-interviewing of witnesses in 2002 breathed new life into the investigation, eventually leading to Paul Curry's arrest and conviction. In September 2014, all eyes were on Paul Curry again as he thought he was in the clear for Linda's unaliving, but that was not the case. Listen to what was said on ABC News.
Crazy.
Paul was convicted on September 30, 2014, after a jury deliberated for a day.
Wow.
The case had been built over a span of 16 years following Linda's unaliving in 1994 due to nicotine poisoning.
Wow, that was pretty cool. That was, not only did it talk about background, but the Crime First team provided another gap that I was going to ask about, and that was, what happened afterwards with conviction, all that stuff. There's some other questions that might cover that as well, but let's see what the next one is. How did the prosecution prove that Paul Curry poisoned his wife? Okay, so that gets into the how.
The prosecution proved that Paul Curry poisoned his wife Linda through several key pieces of evidence. Toxicology reports revealed fatal levels of nicotine in Linda's system, despite her being a non-smoker. The autopsy also found toxic levels of the sedative Ambien in Linda's body, along with hemorrhaging consistent with a needle puncture behind her right ear. Dr. Neil Benowitz, a nicotine expert, testified that Linda died quickly from nicotine poisoning, likely administered within 2 hours of her unaliving.
Whoa.
Paul Curry was the only person home with Linda on the night she died, placing him at the scene. The prosecution established a financial motive, showing that Paul collected close to $500,000 from Linda's life insurance policies and retirement plan after her unaliving. Evidence was presented suggesting AUL may have previously attempted to poison his ex-wife, Leslie Curry, who experienced similar mysterious symptoms during their marriage. The prosecution demonstrated that Paul had lied about his credentials, undermining his credibility. These elements collectively built a case that Paul Curry had both the opportunity and motive to poison his wife, leading to his conviction for first-degree murder with special circumstances for poisoning and murder for financial gain.
Got luck who's lucky to get 20 years or get more time at least to get caught. That was excellent. That filled in a lot of gaps. I know the video was really quick.
He was married before and it's crazy.
Yeah, this is a good question that came in about, can you tell me more about the high concentration of nicotine that was in Linda's system?
So
they talked about a little bit more specific.
The highest concentration of nicotine, 15,023/mg, was found in the tissue around the injection mark.
Oof.
High concentrations of nicotine were found in the blood, reaching lethal levels. Gas chromatography mass spectrometry or liquid chromatography tandem mass spectrometry were used to detect nicotine in blood samples and gastric contents. Among organs, the brain had the highest nicotine concentration, 11.637/mg. Nicotine concentrations varied in different body fluids, with intraperitoneal fluid having the highest and pericardial fluid the lowest. Presence of metabolites. Cotinine, a metabolite of nicotine, was also detected in various tissues and fluids. The highest concentration of cotinine was found in the tissue around the injection mark. Autopsy findings.
Okay, I'll explain
Histologic
later
examination revealed hemorrhages in subcutaneous tissues around injection marks. Lung examination showed edema, congestion, and alveolar injury. In some cases, esophageal and gastric mucosal changes were observed, indicating oral administration of nicotine. These forensic tests, combined with scene investigation and autopsy findings, provided comprehensive evidence to confirm nicotine poisoning as the cause of unaliving in these cases.
So really quickly, before we get to the next question, if you missed it, because there's a lot of big words and a lot of technical stuff there, they found a lot where the injection and oral, things that were not necessarily like normal, like it's not environmental or you smoke or this, that, other thing. But because it was injected and there was higher concentration around those tissues, you could say that is the source of the nicotine entering the body.
Exactly. And that's definitely a lot of proof to show that somebody had to actually inject that into her system.
Right. So why did it take years to discover that Paul poisoned his wife, Linda? What a great question. Good job. I like that question.
It took years to discover that Paul Curry poisoned his wife, Linda Curry, for several reasons. Lack of direct evidence. Investigators never found a syringe in the Curry home or direct evidence that Paul Curry purchased nicotine. Complex toxicology. The cause of unaliving was initially unclear, and it took time to identify the fatal levels of nicotine in Linda's system, especially since she was a non-smoker. Linda had experienced mysterious illnesses before her unaliving, which complicated the investigation.
Yeah, that's true. She was sick.
The case went cold for years until 2002 when Sergeant Yvonne Shull re-examined evidence and re-interviewed witnesses. Technological limitations. The investigation began in the early 1990s when forensic techniques were less advanced. Recorded interviews revealed that Linda was in denial about Paul's potential involvement, making it difficult for investigators to build a case. Lack of immediate suspicion. Although Paul was initially a suspect, there wasn't enough evidence to arrest him immediately after Linda's unaliving. The breakthrough came when Sergeant Shull reviewed old evidence, including audio-taped interviews with Linda, and connected Paul's pattern of behavior with his previous marriages. This renewed investigation, combined with advancements in forensic analysis and testimony from experts like Dr. Neil Benowitz, ultimately led to Paul Curry's conviction in 2014, 20 years after Linda's unaliving.
Wow. Crime Force, great job. They did a great job filling in a lot of the gaps. That's all the questions that came in. Man, you guys are the best, man. I'm telling you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, now go back to my invisible shirt. Ooh. Anyhow, it's okay. I'll have to get another color. Hey, if you want merchandise, we don't usually do shout outs for merchandise. It says Crime Force. I know it's kind of hard to see. AI investigation team. But this new logo, this is available at our merchandise, which is, I think there's a link in the description, and I think also on the channel somewhere there's a link you can go to and order your shirt. So if you like the new stuff, go get it. That'd be cool. That'd help us out. But that was really interesting. So the video was good to give a background, but Crime Force did a great job filling in a lot of the gaps that it's amazing. You know, it's kind of sad in some ways, Shrek, when men or women, depending on who's the one that's doing the unaliving. But, you know, to be 2 decades to get away with it. I mean, the person maybe get comfortable and think, okay, nothing's ever going to happen to this. But even getting caught, you live 20 of your good lives, at least free. Okay, now you're like in your, retirement years. I guess you'd be like, the heck with it. But I don't know. It's a shame.
Yeah, it was just interesting. I know that I read some more of the background of the story, and the agent, she with the cold case, they call it a cold case, right? Because it was just sitting on. But this lady wanted to dig into it, and she actually gave him a call, and he accepted. She was like, "What?" So they reinvestigated, and again, and he actually was participating in that, but she actually was the one that I guess they want to give kudos to, because she's the one that actually, decided I want to focus on cold cases. Cold cases are hard, and a lot of, if you're in a detective.
It's a different level of analysis.
Exactly, and a lot of people don't even want to touch it because so many intricacies. But thank you, Crime Force.
Yep, and thank you guys for watching with us. And we got a lot of other interesting cases coming up. We're going to be all over the place. We're talking about all kinds of crime topics. Some are more historical, some are very specific, and some are very, more recent. We're going to be all over because we're covering the topic from beginning to end. But thank you so much. Any final words?
Just thanks for watching Studio 70.
Let's go.
Crime Force.